Coming up, new details in the Club Q shooting. The suspected shooter is now expected to take a plea deal. And one of the worst migrant tragedies in the Mediterranean. Hundreds of migrants are still unaccounted for after an overloaded fishing boat sinks. The rundown starts now. This is Straight Arrow News, bringing you unbiased, straight facts. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. The suspect in last November's mass shooting at a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs is now expected to take a plea deal. This is according to several survivors of the shooting who have spoken to the Associated Press. In a series of jail calls to the AP, 23-year-old Anderson Aldrich expressed remorse, as well as his intention to face the consequences for the shooting. It left 5 people dead and 17 others wounded. Aldrich faces more than 300 state charges, including murder and hate crimes. The Justice Department is also considering filing federal hate crime charges. Pleading guilty would ensure that Aldrich gets the maximum state sentence of life in prison. A hearing is set for later this month. Bill Cosby, the first celebrity to be tried and convicted in the Me Too era, is facing another sexual assault lawsuit. 9 women accuse the actor of individually drugging and assaulting them between the years of 1979 and 1992. The women claim these sexual assaults occurred in dressing rooms and hotels in Las Vegas, Reno, and Lake Tahoe. The 85-year-old former Cosby Show star has been accused of rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment by more than 60 women. Bill Cosby was released from prison in 2021 after a court overturned his 2018 conviction. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has sent dozens of migrants to California, several buses arriving in Los Angeles Wednesday evening. The first time Texas has chosen LA as the final destination. 42 migrants left the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas for the 1,500-mile journey. According to one of the nonprofits assisting the migrants, there were 8 children between the ages of 2 and 9 accompanied by their families on the bus. The city of Los Angeles learned about the migrants while the bus was en route. This comes just as dozens of migrants arrived in Sacramento, those migrants sent courtesy of Florida. The city of Los Angeles just voted last week to draft a sanctuary city policy, which often limits immigration enforcement actions. One of the worst migrant tragedy stories off the coast of Greece. Nearly 80 migrants are confirmed dead after an overloaded fishing boat trying to reach Europe capsized and sank. An aerial photo of the blue vessel was released by the Greek Coast Guard, showing scores of people covering almost every inch of the deck. Although blurry, Greek Coast Guard officials have described this sort of fishing boat as a floating coffin. There are 104 survivors receiving treatment and care. Survivors fear hundreds of migrants were trapped in the lower deck and still unaccounted for. The migrants are said to include Egyptians, Syrians, Pakistanis, Afghans, and Palestinians. Greece has declared 3 days of mourning as rescue efforts are nearing an end in the Mediterranean.
Right now, they're under shock. So I think that the medical and psychological needs of the people, as well as their communication with their families, to tell, that's their biggest concern. They want to tell their families that they are well.
A 7-member committee in the British Parliament has released its Partygate report after spending more than a year investigating former Prime Minister Boris Johnson's role in a series of parties in 2020 and 2021 that were held during the pandemic, when such gatherings were prohibited by law. The scathing report suggests Johnson deliberately misled Parliament about the parties and ordered a 90-day suspension with a potential of sanctioning the former PM. However, Boris Johnson resigned from his post in Parliament less than a week ago ahead of the report's release. Johnson released a statement saying he was being forced out by a handful of people and claimed the committee had no evidence to back such allegations against him. Johnson resigned as Prime Minister in July of 2022, almost 1 year ago. The U.S. Open kicks off today, and while golfers try to stay course to win the major tournament, there's bound to be some chatter in the crowds given last week's bombshell merger announcement between PGA and LIV Golf. The two organizations have a short but complicated history of spats. It was 1 year ago when the PGA held their U.S. Open, which came on the heels of LIV's first event. There are still many questions surrounding the merger that sent shockwaves throughout the sport, but for now, all eyes are on who will win the title. These are your top stories. Thanks for joining us for the rundown. We're on a mission to bring back trustworthy journalism by serving only you, not an agenda. Be sure to check out more of our work at straightarrownews.com. And you can also find the latest rundown episodes available as a podcast on all major podcast platforms. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.